Hi everyone, it's Leilani. Welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be working on 4 12 by 12 layouts of a recent trip that me and Will took to Chicago. So earlier this week, actually, Sunday through Tuesday, me and Will were in Chicago and we did a lot of really fun things, including going to the Color Factory and the Wonder Museum. Both were definitely 5 stars, super fun. Very, very much recommend. I'm going to have so many cute photos because they're kind of like interactive exhibits that are just screaming for you to take photos. So I have a lot of pictures. So I will still be documenting a lot of the photos in my regular Project Life spread video that you will see next week. But I had so many extras that I thought it would be fun to make a few layouts. Now, I don't normally make 4 layouts from one event. Not that I couldn't, there are no rules, but I typically don't do that. A lot of times if I have a lot of pictures, I will maybe create a mini album or something like that. From this particular event, I probably had like a little over 30 pictures, so not that many. So I figured with doing the 4 layouts and maybe a regular 12 by 12 pocket page and maybe an insert, I'll be able to just house all of my photos in my Project Life album. So that is what I am going to be doing. So for all 4 of these spreads, what I do is I'm using a piece of white paper as my base, and then I really just grabbed out a few pieces of some are full sheets, some are more scrap sheets of paper, but I grabbed out a few sheets of paper. I don't have that much pattern paper right now, so I'm really kind of just working with what I've got. So all of these spreads are showing you how you can create 12 by 12 layouts with very minimal supplies, because besides the few pieces of paper that I use, like you can see for this particular spread, I only used 2 little pieces of that striped paper, one that I added down the length of the page and one I tore for the corner. So not very much paper here. Now granted, my photo for this spread is printed off as an 8 by 10 photo. So it's a biggie. So I wanted this one to be a really big picture to kind of like start the Chicago spreads. And I really loved this picture because it is so colorful. It's like the entrance to the Color Factory. So I wanted it to be like bold and the big center of all of the photos. So besides the pieces of paper though, I did just grab out a couple different alphas that were really, really handy. So I thought that those worked nicely to spell out Color Factory. And besides my sprinkling of stars that I typically add to my spreads, the other pieces are actually ephemera that I got on the trip. So I was able to snag a couple packs of puffy stickers from the Color Factory gift shop. So those are perfect to add on to spreads. So a lot of those stickers are from there. And then the smiley face, the blue smiley in the upper left hand corner, that's actually a QR code that you get right whenever you start your journey throughout the Color Factory. And there's a lot of different little areas in there where you kind of have a photo station and you can scan your QR code, and then those pictures that you get taken of yourself will be sent to your email. So that's super cool if you have a larger party, or especially if it's like only me and Will, we were able to get photos together, which is always a plus. So I'm keeping them really simple. As you can see, I just did like a little kind of diagonal, added a few of those embellishments on there. And then I'm using some of the tinsel color, Heidi Swap Color Shine that I have left over. It's kind of like a dark gray, adding a little smattering of that here and there. And then that first one is already done. So moving on to the second one, all of these are from the Color Factory, by the way, but moving on to the second one, as you're going through the Color Factory, you go through all kinds of rooms, and each one of the rooms has like a specific theme, and I think they're all created by different artists and stuff. It's just super fun. So this room in particular was about like giving compliments to your partner or whoever you came with, and one of the fun activities, you got this little worksheet and you were looking at each other. So like those pictures of me and Will, we were in these little booths looking at each other, and the worksheet was all about color. So you had to fill in different little blanks with different colors that represented whoever you were there with. But then one of the most fun parts was you had to like look at each other and not look down at your paper, and also not pick up your pencil and draw each other. So I thought that that was really fun, and I loved the way our drawings turned out. I personally think Will's looks exactly like him, so I love it. So I had to use these in some sort of layout, and they're a little bit bigger, so I thought a layout instead of adding them into pockets would be perfect. So I just cut off kind of the other section of the little cards that I didn't feel like I needed, and I'm adding those to the top. And then I also printed off the 2 photos of us as we were doing this particular exhibit here, and I printed those off at a 3x4, and I'm adding those on as well. And then you'll notice once again I just grabbed one other little piece of scrap paper and added it onto the left side, the circles, which I thought looked nice paired with the circles from the line drawings. And I think this paper with the circles and also the striped paper from the last layout, those are both just from the Sun Chaser collection. So I happen to have a few sheets of that collection left over because I used it for some projects recently. And then I found this little piece of scrap paper from, I think, Sunny Days or something from Maggie Holmes. So I'm using it, and I just thought to make some additional embellishments, I would just freehand cut out a few hearts. So I'm going to do that. I will outline them here in a bit, and I'll place them all over the spread. So I really love the way that this one ended up turning out, and I love being able to create these layouts to document some of the moments that I wanted to put a little bit more emphasis on, which I have a lot of great photos that, like I said, will go into the pocket pages, but there's a few that I really wanted to be able to stand out. This one, these 2 photos aren't like my favorite pictures from the trip or anything, but they help to tell the story of the line drawing, so that's why I added them onto this spread. So I also had a cut apart sheet from the Sun Chaser collection from Heidi Swap. So I just cut out that here's the story, and I thought that would give me a nice little spot to add journaling. Then I'm adding on the title, So Fun, in those same alphas. And then, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and outline all of these hearts really quick. So yeah, our trip to Chicago was super, super fun. We had just one of those great trips where it seemed like everything just turned out really good, and we just had a blast together. We were technically gone for 3 days, but 2 of the days we did a lot of driving because it's about 8 hours away with no stops, so about 9 hours or so. So we really just had the one day, Monday, that we spent doing all the fun things. So I'm so glad that we were finally able to go to the Color Factory, because that's been something that's been on my list for so long, and it did not disappoint. It was really fun, and definitely if it's in your area, or if you travel anywhere that has the Color Factory going on, you have got to check it out. It is just so fun. The Wonder Museum was also really cool. The same kind of idea where there's different rooms that different artists do, and they're like interactive, fun, different exhibits. I don't have any photos, I don't think, from the Wonder Museum. We do use a few pieces of ephemera, but no photos within these layouts, but you'll see more as we do the pocket pages in the next video. So love the way those hearts turned out. I ended up popping them up on some like foam so that they would have a little bit of like a dimensional look. And I also love that I was able to add real life ephemera into all 4 of these layouts. Now I think a couple of them mostly just have the sticker sheets, so I don't know if that's cheating, but technically it is ephemera that I picked up along the way. But also in the first video, I did have that smiley face that I cut out that had the QR code on the back. So it was just like a little piece of cardboard. And then this one, I have the actual line drawing papers. So I love that I was able to kind of add those pieces of ephemera in, because that's one thing that I ended up with a lot of at the end of the trip was a ton of ephemera. I'm picking it up everywhere that we go. And both of these places had like several little things that I could either get for free along the way or that I grabbed out of the gift shop. So even with adding some to my Hobonichi, I knew that I was going to have a lot of ephemera pieces left over. So I'm very happy to have added a ton onto these layouts. That makes me really happy. So these particular alphas just do not have any stick on them. So you'll notice in both of these spreads, I stapled them on. I do add some, I think, to the last spread that I don't staple on, but before I put the spreads back into the page protectors, I went ahead and added some adhesive to them because you already know they'll be at the bottom of your page protector before you can even look through your album again. So added on a little bit more of that Heidi shine just for a little something. And I love the way that one turned out as well. So this is just kind of further proof that it's easy to make these layouts, even if you have really, really minimal supplies. So on each one of these pages, I think I'm using 1 to 2 pieces of scrap paper. I'm barely even dipping into my stash of paper. So I feel like if you're like me and you don't own a ton of paper, I think I'm in the minority. A lot of people are like the scrappy hoarders and have just tons and tons of paper. But if you're like me and you don't have a lot, you can still create really fun layouts without having tons of supplies. So for this one, I grabbed out another piece of paper here. I guess it's a 6x8 from the Sunny Days little paper pad. And so I just add that on, and then I'm going to layer my photos. So I decided to do these 2 pictures of myself because I really loved the one with the flowers. I just love that background. I thought it was really fun, and I kind of wanted to print it off bigger so that it wouldn't just get lost within the pocket pages. So I thought, to just make the layout a little more exciting, I would add 2 photos. If y'all have been around here for a little bit, you know that I am more comfortable doing layouts with multiple photos. That's just where I think I do a lot better. So I did print off also that little selfie of me at the bottom. We were in like a sound room because the Color Factory is all about your senses. So we were in a sound room. So I'm kind of like acting like I'm listening to the sounds there in that photo. I did pop it up on some of the foam as well, just to give it a little bit of dimension. And then you'll notice that the other, I guess, quote unquote, pattern paper that I'm using is a postcard. So that's one of the postcards that I grabbed at the Wonder Museum. And I thought it was pretty and that it went. So I'm just using it as pattern paper instead of just keeping it as like an ephemera piece in my project life. I also added that other sticker from the Wonder Museum. And even though these photos are from the Color Factory and not technically the Wonder Museum, I don't really care about that. So it's good to go. I did also grab a kind of label cut apart piece from that sheet, and I added that to the bottom again to add on some journaling. And then I'm putting on a few more of these puffy stickers here and there. I love these things. They're so cute, and they're a nice puff. They're like not too puffy, which I appreciate. Then I'm going to add on a few stars, as I'm doing with all of these pages. I also added washi onto a lot of the pages because I do have all of my Hobonichi supplies beside me on my desk whenever I was working on this, and I just really love that multicolored grid washi. I got that from the shop No White Space. They have a ton of really cute Disney themed stuff, so definitely give them a look if you think that washi is cute. So I'm adding on a few stars. I don't always, here I'm adding some little dotted borders to the stars, and I think that I might have not filmed that on a couple of them, but all of the larger stars that I add on all the spreads get a little dotted border. So here I really wasn't filling a title. I didn't know what to make my title. So I ended up just adding, I had grabbed out the alphas. I just added a little exclamation point, and I'm just going to add in my journaling, and I'm not going to have like a big title on this one. And I feel like that looks fine. I'm not a person that always has to have a title on every spread or anything. I just let the spread let me know if it needs one. Adding on a little bit of this bright gold washi that I have that I really love. And then I think besides my little splatters here and there, that's pretty much it. I do grab out my roller sentiment stamp, and I add on a few little stamps here and there. This one says I love, And there you have it. So another one down, and I really like the way all these spreads look. I think it's just exciting coming back from a trip and working on the layouts and all the things. You're just so pumped to tell all your stories whenever you get home from a trip, or at least I am. That's like the first thing that I want to do. Okay, and then for this last one, this was the big ball pit that the Color Factory had. So one of the last, or maybe the last exhibit that they had, is this huge ball pit, and everything in the room is this like green color, and then you get to go play around in the ball pit. They had 2 different slides, and it was just so fun to just play around in there with Will for a little bit. So as far as my paper goes, I grabbed out a little bit more of that stripe. I'm going to add that over here to the side. And then I did find a piece of this green paper with the stars on it from the the Sun Chaser collection from Heidi Swap. So I'm adding that on as well because I thought that the green worked nicely. I printed both of these photos off as a 5x7 so that I could take up a lot of the space here. I love that picture of Will, and I just think that these are really, really cute. So I just added the photo of Will down just regular, and then I'm going to pop mine up on the foam because it's going to kind of overlap. And I just thought that that would give it a little bit of dimension again, just something, just a little something extra. I do cut a couple more pieces here, and I'm going to pop those under as well. So yeah, this one I'm going to do a little bit of a bigger title. So a lot of the like little things in the gift shop I noticed said like I survived the ball pit, which I thought was really funny. So I end up titling this one, We Survived the Ball Pit. And luckily, even though I just randomly grabbed out 2 different alphas that were super handy, they had a ton of letters. So I was able to spell everything that I needed to spell, which is always really great. So here I just added a little bit of washi, as you saw, and then I'm going to go ahead and spell out my long title. Now, I think I mess around with it again, but I did grab a patch, like a Color Factory patch. I love grabbing patches from the gift shop, and I always just add them right onto my scrapbooking spreads or in my pocket pages. So I was kind of thinking that I might add that patch to this page, but I end up finding a Color Factory sticker, and I use that instead. But I do want to say that I do end up at the very end, whenever you see the flip through of all, or the up close flip of all of these 4 layouts, you will notice that that first spread, the large photo spread, I do add the patch onto that spread as well. So I was happy to be able to use that. So here I put We Survived, and then I end up just writing in the ball pit because I didn't want to add like the letters. I felt like for a word like the, I just didn't want to add those letters in as well. I just thought it would look nicer. So I'm going to add in all of my stars here and there. I really love the way that that title looks. I think it's really cute. So I'm going to add in all of my stars, and then we'll put just a couple other small embellishments on this one and call it done. So this felt so good, like I said, to bust out all 4 of these spreads. I just kind of grabbed very minimal supplies and got to work, got them all done in one sitting, and it just felt really great. There's the patch. It just felt really great getting them done. And yeah, I was considering maybe making a mini album, but since I only had about 30 photos, I could definitely make a mini album. But I thought, you know what, I'm just going to add them all into my project life and be able to enjoy them there. But you never know. I could definitely make a mini album with some of these photos in the future. We'll just have to see what ends up happening. So instead of the patch, like I said, I put that sticker that says the Color Factory, and then I ended up grabbing kind of all of the circles out of the sticker, the puffy sticker pack, and added those on as well, adding on a little bit of journaling here to the bottom. And then I grabbed that same roller phrase stamp, and I just stamp out yes, yes, yes in a few different spots. And then of course I'm going to add the Heidi Shine, and then I will be done. So I can't wait to share all of the other photos with you guys. I have a lot more that we will be documenting in Pocket Pages, so that will be the next video that you will see probably like early next week. But once again, thank you guys for bearing with me as my videos have been a little bit sporadic, but I am back on my schedule, so you can definitely expect to have 2 videos a week from here on out. I smudged that a little, so I just added a star. So I'm gonna do a little up close here, and then you will get to see all 4 of them. There's where I added the patch, and I love the way these turned out. Of course, it helps, I think, when you have really fun photos to work with, but these were just a blast to work on. They look great in my album, and they're a really fun kind of like start to all of the Chicago photos. So I hope that you enjoyed this process video. If you did, please give me a like. Please also consider subscribing, and of course, I'll be back at you super soon with another one. Bye, y'all.